Okay, there's number 2. 3 is a map. And then 4 and 5 are graphs. We have a hyperbolic graph right here. And then we have an exponential function right here. Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute to copy those down and tell me. So all you have to do is write yes or no next to each of those. And we'll go through those real quick, and then we will do the back and we'll be done. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Francesca, you can pick which one you've already done since I'm kind of rushing you guys. You can pick number 1 through 5. Tell me which one's a function, which one's not.
1 is not a function.
Okay, why?
Because it has 2 repeating 2 of the same x values.
Yeah, so these 2 x values have different y values. Okay, so we had 2 x values that mapped out to 2 different y values. That's the issue. Very good, Francesca. Thank you. Aaron, pick 2, 3, 4, 5 and do it for me.
Number 2 is yes, it is a function.
All right. Yes, why?
Because none of the x values repeat.
Exactly. We have 4 distinct x values. Very good. Tanaya, can you pick 3, 4, or 5 for me?
3.
All right. What about number 3?
It's not a function.
No, why not?
Because 4 go to 5 and 9.
Perfect. This is too easy for all of you. Brandy, since I've already picked on you, I'm going to go ahead and do 4 and 5 for you guys. So I draw a vertical line through here. We pass through this relationship twice. So this is not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. Here we can draw a vertical line through as many times as we want, and every single time we will only pass through 1 time. So this is a function. All right, what questions do you guys have on those?
None.
All right, is it okay if I flip this page over?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's flip it over to where I tried to start us off last time. I apologize. So we're talking about function notation. So you can have like an f of x or you can have a y, but whatever that thing is, it names the function, okay, and shows the input value of the function, okay? So we could have f here is our name, our x is our input, okay? Or you could have y be your name, but when you write it in function notation, it's always going to be like this, okay? You may also see it like this, and then you would just rewrite it as f of x. Okay. So let's go to this first box here. So if we're given f, a number, so f is the name of our function, a number is going to represent our x times 3 minus 6. So it's asking us to write down what this function could be. The function's name was f. What was the input?
6.
Not 6.
3.
Just a number, so it's going to be an x.
X.
Okay, so we're not picking a specific number yet. We're just defining it in general for any value. And then it says a number, oops, sorry, I moved my paper. a number times 3 minus 6. How do I write that in mathematical form? So I'm going to take my x, and it says times 3 minus 6. So I'm going to multiply by 3 and subtract 6. All right, this is my function rule. Now it gives us this chart down here, and we need to fill it in. So we can do this by hand. F of -1 equals 3 times -1 minus 6. 3 times -1 is -3. Minus 6 should give us -9. So I'm going to go ahead, since we're running out of time, and fill it in for you. So we should have -9 for the first value. When we sub in 0, we should get -6. We sub in 1, we get -3, and 2, you should get 0. Okay, so go back through when we leave, and you can check and make sure you understand where all those numbers came from. What questions do you guys have about that so far? Okay, and in the second box, we're naming our function g. Our input is going to be x, and it says it's a number squared plus 2. So we're going to take the number, which is x. So when it says a number, it's talking about x. And we're going to square it, and then we're going to add 2 to it. X squared plus. All right, and we want our x values here. And then these are going to be our g of x or y values here. And let's do -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So g, if we sub in -1 for x, we should have -1 squared plus 2. -1 squared is +1, and then 1 plus 2 is 3. So this will map to 3. Do 0. 0 squared plus 2 should give me 2. And then we have 3 and 6. All right, and they just map straight across to each of those values. Okay, and then in this very last one, do you guys have questions, or do you need me to pause it all? Okay, I'm gonna keep moving. It names it f. A number is referencing the x, okay? And so we're gonna have f of x, and it says it's multiplied by 3 minus 5. So 3x minus 5. It gives us our values to put in. So maybe we sub in -1. Okay, and you all showed me that you can do this on your warm up. So I'm not too worried. -3 minus 5 should be -8. Okay, and then -5, -2, and 1. Okay. Now, let's see. I think that's the end of the PowerPoint. Oh, here we go. Okay, so then it gives us a bunch of you-dos in the PowerPoint. All right, so it gives us an F and a G. And in number 1, it wants us to find F of -1. Number 2, F of 2. 3, F of x. 4, F of 3x. And then 5, it wants you to do F of x plus 2, and 6 is to represent F as a table for a domain. We'll skip 6. We'll just do 5. Okay, so in f of -1, so it's given f as a number multiplied by 3 minus 5. So it gives us this function here. All right. And when we sub in -1, we did this up here, right? We got -8. We also have f of 2 is 1. F of x, this may seem like a trick question. It's literally asking you to write this thing right here, 3x minus 5, and then you're done with that one. And now when it says f of 3x, what you're going to do is you're going to sub in 3x where the x was, and then simplify it down. So this would look like 9x minus 5. 4 is probably the most complicated one, and that's the one most similar to 5, which you have to do on your own. What questions do you guys have about each of those? So these two are just like numbers you're subbing in. This is just literally asking you for the function. And here it's asking you to sub in a little more. What questions do you have? Okay, so in the last 2 minutes, I want you to look at the UDO and see if you can figure it out, and then I'll give you the answer before you head out. So keep working on that. And your next activity is a card sort. I give you a bunch of little cards, and they're each going to either be a function or not a function. Okay, there's instructions both on the Canvas page and on the document you open for the card sort. I want you guys to submit a list of the functions, a list of the non-functions, and you can reference each of the cards. There's 2 columns of cards. So I'm just going to draw this out for the card sort. So you should have 2 columns of cards, and there's a bunch of pages of them. And I would just said, call this column A, call this column B, and then row 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there might be 8 rows of them. So you can say like 1A is a function, 2B is a function, 3B is a function, and just make your lists like that to reference each of the cards. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Then you have some homework. Your homework is to, I think it was draw pictures of 2 things that are a function and 2 that are not. And then I also have 2 EOC style questions that I attached. So it's those 2 things that I want you to do and submit them before next class. And then that is all for today. So on your time by yourself, you're going to do the card sort and your homework. All right, so let's go through this UDO. Is anybody super confident with their answer? Do you want me to show you? Would you guys prefer that over me calling on one of you?
I think I might have did it. I don't know.
All right, bring it on, Erin. Let's see it.
Okay, so I put the x plus 2 where you sub in the x at.
So you have like 3 and then x plus 2?
Yes.
And then what?
Minus 5.
Perfect. Yes. So we can distribute this and get 3x plus 6 minus 5. Simplify that a little bit more. 6 minus 5 is 1. We should get 3x plus 1. Very good, Erin. Thank you. Oops. Okay, so when this class is over, I will post this page that we wrote on so that if you missed anything, you can go back and look at it. I will also post the recording of today's class. So if you want to go back and rewatch anything, you can. And please send me a remind message if you have any questions at all about the card sort. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward, but I understand if there is any confusion. So before you guys head out, any last questions? Okay, well, it was really good to see all of you. And I will let you go now that it's 2 minutes past your class time. So thank you so much. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.